Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Moran, principal of Holman Middle School. Here at Holman, we don't believe that learning is one size fits all. We know that different students have different needs. So today, I'd like to talk to you about the two different learning options we have here at Holman Middle. The first is the traditional model, something that you and I are probably very familiar with from our own time in school. The second is something that is more personalized. It gives students more agency and more ownership over their learning. This is called Pirate Academy.
Pirate Academy is a personalized learning program at Holman where we are really focused on the student at the center of everything. And I know that other classes are as well, but we have the luxury of really truly working with students to help them become owners and agents of their learning. Students are able to identify where they're at in a learning process and to identify the next steps toward mastery of any given target. And be able to learn those skills, self-advocacy. Success is attainable for every student in our program. We do not give up on kids until they have mastered the essential learning outcomes, but in addition to really ensuring high levels of student success academically, we also really focus on the social, emotional wellness of all of our students. And I would say Pirate Academy is a family. We know our students incredibly well, and we help them get to know each other and themselves even better. By the time that they leave us, they really are able to drive their learning.
I like to call it organized chaos, okay? Because as you come in, there are a lot of moving pieces because the kids move at a pace specific to their needs. In one classroom, there are students on a bunch of different assignments, a bunch of different learning targets at the same time because they're exactly where they need to be. So while it looks like everyone's off doing their own thing,
Still, there's a common, it looks like there's a lot going on, but the kids are doing what they need to. So you're not going to see one person standing up front telling everyone to do the same thing in the same order. It's a little bit more, especially on the math science side. I think you guys do that a little bit more because math is so concrete and sequential that you finish this lesson, you move on to the next one. On the ELA social studies side, it's a little bit more cyclical, so we circle back to those standards at different times throughout the year.
We really, at this point in the school year, we really know our students very well. And we know when our kids are having good days and when we're having bad days, and so we're able to have those conversations with our students, and we're able to look at what the learning objectives are from over a week, and we can kind of formulate a schedule with them to meet their needs as needed.
The first thing that makes us different, very obviously, is that we have block scheduling. So we block math and science, so they're back to back, and then we also block ELA and social studies. And the reason that we do that is because we found that it gave us so much more curricular time to be able to focus on our students' needs. There are some days, for example, on the math side, there are some days where we do all math. If that's what they need in order to be able to move on to the next concept, we'll do a full math day. And then for labs, it's really nice to have a full science day for lab purposes. But having that back-to-back time gives us a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, and the flexibility is wonderful because it allows us to really be responsive to what the students need. The content, the curriculum does not, it drives obviously the instructional components, but student need is what drives the pace. And it's amazing to be able to have that flexibility.
One of the other things that I think really helps Pirate Academy is we work really hard on creating this intentional culture of collaboration. And part of Pirate Academy is that we, from the start, wanted to blend 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students as much as possible, just so they got used to working with others. And you get used to working outside of your purview, outside of your peers. And we have seen so much growth and leadership from that. So we try and keep students as blended as possible, just so they do have all of those extra experiences from working with diverse groups.
Yes. So age level, ability, it's all really, students get to work with people that are like them, people that are not like them, people that are at all levels of the learning process. And the great thing about that is that really we are able to teach 3 levels of content at a given time through the amazing technology resources that we have, but the collaboration of the peers as well. And it really is incredible. Emily said, Dr. Defani, to see our students becoming comfortable with students outside of their age range, but also our older students are practicing leadership every single day.
I was not sure what to expect coming in as my first year, having in like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You have 10-year-olds and 14-year-olds together, and that's a really wide just developmental range and maturity range, and just even like cognitive, like what they're expected. But I really found, I think our 8th graders have a little bit more empathy for the 6th graders, and they're able to say like, you know what, that was me a couple years ago, like I can help them out. And then the 6th graders kind of rise up to that level as well. So I've seen it kind of be beneficial on both sides. 7th graders are kind of just stuck in the middle there always, but I think it's helped. I think it's helped the 6th graders. Middle school can be a scary transition. Middle school's, you know, you have a building with 600 plus students in it, and they don't know where to go. And I think it's helped. Like it's kind of a little like small. It shrinks down middle school, I think, a little bit for them, and makes it a little bit less scary because they have kind of a home base back here.
The teachers and the students use the learning targets in their everyday language, and we discuss their learning. I notice in this environment, my students are able to describe where they're at in the curriculum more because that is what they're graded to. And they're able to use the vocabulary such as getting started, in progress, and mastery. And there's definitely an increase in student ownership. So the students, they know where they're at in the curriculum, and it's not the teacher telling you what you have learned and where you're learned. The students will sometimes tell me.
Yeah, and I think it takes a little bit of the confusion of you have an A, but what does that really mean? It takes that out of the equation. Like you could have an A just because you turned in all your worksheets, but if you didn't actually learn the material, then the A doesn't. You don't always know what the A, B, C, D, F means. I've had kids fail my traditional classes who their test scores showed they were off the charts, but that grade showed a lack of work rather than a lack of knowledge or what they knew. So I think the competency base gives you a little bit of a clearer picture of where the students are at in their actual learning and not just in their work completion.
So in our program, we have a high value on reassessment. We don't move on until kids have mastered a standard, especially if it's an important one that the district has decided is a priority. We will not give up on a student.
One of the other things we focus on as well is while we're working on all of these standards, we really like to build the autonomy for students to understand what they're learning. So that means that as much as possible, we let them drive the learning process, whether it's through students being responsible for the actual assignment they're submitting or creating their own assessment. We've started working with students on that as well. But just seeing that autonomy and that self-driven learning, the students definitely are motivated by their own learning and to show what they know.
And they're becoming curious, and that's I think probably another big thing with Pirate Academy is that it is that inquiry-driven learning all over the place. Like, yeah, there is still that, surface level. Yeah, you have to read about this content to be able to understand it in both science and in social studies. But there's this real-world application and personal experience of the content that I think helps our students really make
We definitely take a lot of time within our classrooms to do anything we can to make things real world and authentic. And that includes anything project-based that we can add in, whether it's in math or ELA or social studies content. Science is as lab-driven as we can make it. It's as collaborative as we can be all the time. We really want our students in Pirate Academy to be able to experience the world outside of our room. And the only way we can do that is by bringing the world to them a lot of the times. So we create as many of those experiences as possible. As far as essential skills, those life skills, we have a very big focus on collaboration. That's the one that we've been spending a lot of our time on. And just that ability to have the autonomy to work for yourself, to be able to advocate for yourself, to understand what your goals are and how to get them. We build those very intentionally, and that's from the start, from the very first days of school. They're setting their own goals, and we're talking about collaboration, and we're even managing the dysfunctions of a team. That's something we're very intentional about.
provided you with a good picture of what Pirate Academy looks like. If you have questions, or if you'd like to talk more, you can email me, or you can check us out on the website. We look forward to having you here at Holman.
Solid learning.